Welcome to an all-new edition of Animated Critics Weekend Box Office Update for June 11th to the 13th, 2010. As followed are the weekend estimates. Number one position this week in stunning the industry is The Karate Kid at a $53 million gross and $14,000 per screen average. If this was a Will Smith opening, this would rank as his third highest gross of all time, ranked only behind I Am Legend and Hancock. This is a massive opening. What do you think about this?
I think possibly this makes sense. I mean, we had pegged this around what the A-Team did, about 25, 27 million, but parents had to bring their kids to go see this, so that immediately would double that gross, and so it makes sense in a way. The original Karate Kid opened with 9 million, which would be about 12 million weekend nowadays, and it went on to gross adjusted over 200 million.
I don't think this Karate Kid will reach that height, but you have to say this is a stunning upset for the Karate Kid. And this is going to lead to a lot more films starring Jaden Smith.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be seeing this kid around now, and I think we're going to be seeing Will Smith producing a lot more, especially after this hit.
In second place, we have a respectable opening for the A-Team, estimated at $27 million with a $7,000 per screen average. While this isn't good enough for first place, this is right in line with industry expectations and what you and I had estimated for it last weekend. How do you feel about the performance of the A-Team?
Well, I think that people are going to try and downplay this because the Karate Kid opened up so far above it, but I think that this is exactly where this movie needs to be. It's an old TV show. I wouldn't have expected it to do any better or really any worse.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about this opening at all. I don't think this is going to reach $130 to $150 million at the box office, which I would have guessed it had potential earlier on.
Well, these action comedies are going to be coming out. Night and Day is going to be coming out pretty soon, and I think that the A-Team is going to get lost in the mix, so it's probably not going to reach 150 at this point.
It's a decent opening, and on any other weekend thus far, it would have been number one. It just happened to have the misfortune of going up against the Karate Kid.
And at number 3, Shrek Forever After, with a 15.5 estimated gross for the weekend, bringing it over the 200 million mark. A slow build for this, really, and in my opinion. This is a movie that appears to have some legs to it.
I think this has been inflated once again by the 3D factor, the inflated ticket prices. It did take a big hit from the Karate Kid. It has hung around the top 3 now for 3 weeks, but really when you look at this $209 million gross, it's right on par with How to Train Your Dragon. So I can't call this Shrek a total hit yet.
That's true. 3D definitely seems to be giving these 3D animated kids movies legs, though. Coming in at number 4, we have Get 'Em to the Greek with a respectable $10 million weekend for a total of $36.5 million. Not a bad fall off. I think this is right in line with this movie and where it needs to be. It's definitely going to hit 60, 70 is a possibility still, I think.
$10 million is very good in this crowded market. It's really the only comedy out there for adults and teenagers. It's kind of got that hip factor going for it, especially after the MTV Movie Awards, which maybe bumped up its profile a little bit for the weekend. It has a shot still at 60 to 70 million, like you said, and from what I hear, this movie is an audience pleaser, so I think it's going to be hanging around the top 10 for a few more weeks to come. In 5th place, we have The Killers with $8.5 million, bringing its total to $30 million. It has a decent 50% hold, which is fairly impressive considering the bad pre-release buzz this had. It didn't totally collapse in its second weekend, so audiences must be finding it, and word of mouth has to be fairly decent on the picture. Are you impressed with The Killers' run so far?
I'm pretty surprised that it had such a hold, especially after it came out. It got a lot of bad press and a lot of people saying they didn't like it, but regardless of that, people are going to see it, and I think it's the Ashton Kutcher and the Katherine Heigl, really, what they have to be what's bringing people to see that movie.
It's going to land in the $40 to $50 million range based on the personalities on the poster. 2 big potential blockbusters are opening next weekend. We have Jonah Hex from Warner Brothers and Toy Story 3 from Disney. What do you think the possibilities of Toy Story 3 opening up over 100 million are?
It definitely has a chance at triple digits, and especially with the 3D bump up in price, it definitely has that chance with the inflated ticket prices.
I feel this is almost a lock to open up in the $100 to $110 million because of those 3D prices and the pent-up demand that this franchise has created. Jonah Hex, on the other hand, I feel there hasn't been a lot of a must-see factor on this, and I think this film's going to struggle to open up with the kind of numbers that even A-Team had this week. I pegged this in the low 20 million to high 18s.
I say high teens if it's lucky. I mean, this thing could bomb with the 10 mil opening weekend. It's a comic book western. It's a little. I don't think that people are going to really march out in droves to go see this movie.
To me, the marketing has been a strange mix of Wild Wild West and Ghost Rider. But it might be fun, and it might just have a bad marketing campaign, and could be a breakout summer hit. That's it from the Movie Maverick stage this week. Be sure to check back with us next weekend and see if our predictions are a little bit more correct. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next weekend.